Hey, it's Hendrick Booz again, and I'm here to show you how I use Google Sites to create class materials and then eventually create a bank of materials that I'm able to use year after year. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, so some of what you're going to see is pretty extensive. In fact, some feedback from some of our peers, for instance, Lindsay Carr, she said it's probably too much for kids, it's a little overwhelming. But I find that if I can give them a direct link to something and tell them where to go on a page, they're able to use this pretty effectively. And as I update material, I don't have to worry about a link being broken in, say, a slideshow for online class or in classroom. And so that way, as I add new calendars or I update calendars, I don't have to worry about kids getting the wrong information or something from a past year. So I'll just show you really quickly. I have 4 sites that I maintain for my classes here at Marshall and then also for online. So English 11, 12 Honors is the one that I use most often. You can see that it has kind of a 3/4 project for the research for Brave New World. If we go if we go into the edit function for this, you can quickly see, I guess it's not going to let me do that. No, here it is, that I'm able to pull down pages as we go. And so I've already pulled off our first quarter personal narratives and Hamlet. The research paper is over, and so I can quickly just hide from navigation, making things a little bit easier for students to see. And then every time I publish something, it shows you what your draft looks like, what your homepage looks like. You click publish. This is a really rudimentary fashion and how to look up and create a Google site. I'm really showing you the examples of how I use it. You can find all sorts of videos on YouTube as to how to create it, but a real basic way to do it for those of you who know how to use some of the Drive features in Google Suite for Education. You go to your Drive, and then in the top right, there's this bulleted table for all the Google apps. I use Sites a lot, so it's come up much more often, but if I go to my personal account, it doesn't show that quickly, and so you may have to click on more from Google Suite, Marketplace, and then you can search in here, Sites, and it will come up. I'm going to go ahead and close that really quickly, go back to this. Sites is something that, again, I use all the time, so it shows up. If it doesn't show up for you, you can reach out and I can try to help you figure out why that's the case. But if you go to Sites, you click on that. For some reason, it always goes back to this antiquated version. You click on New Google Sites. Sorry, I do not have COVID. I just have a cough. Here are all the sites that my students have made over the course of the year. I use one for a variety of things. These are past projects, and so everything that's shared with me that I'm able to have access to is all here. But you just jump in here, and then if you want to add one, there's this little add button here. You click create a new site, bottom right, and then boom, there you go. And you have certain themes. Obviously, you can play with that to your heart's content. You start with your pages. You can insert a text box right there, and so that might be like unit 1. I typically try to use some of the headers and footers, and I create these things. You can bullet points. You can put a title there. It makes it bigger. You can make it a smaller heading just to differentiate. You're able to pull up anything from your Drive, and so, for instance, it starts listing all your classes here. You can do something like if I do City of Glass, the novel we're working with in HL2 right now, all of the materials that I have ready for that. This would be like intertextuality. Um, this is a blended lesson that Pat Mohan and I did. Boom, good to go. Sorry for my cough. That way then kids have access to this and they can pull up the shared doc. I explained that in an earlier video. And if we go down, boom, it shows exactly what the kids have done. And so this is an easy way for us to work collectively, collaboratively, but also asynchronously, i.e. When we're not together at Marshall High School. Whenever you want to embed a video from, say, YouTube, you can go there. If you go to your YouTube channel, which Fairfax County has provided for you, you may have a number of videos. You're going to see that we've been doing Mo Willems lunch doodles, and then these silly kids who are millionaires and all the stuff that my kids listen to shows up. But If you go to your library, you can find whatever you need, your own videos, etc., etc., etc. Obviously, I haven't made too much here, but if you find your recordings, you get a video. Let's just say we really wanted to link Trinity and Beyond or something like that. These silly kids who stop that. You go back to your site and you embed it. It pops up. You insert it. You have a video right there. All right. And then obviously you can do images from your files. You can add pictures everywhere. You want to put the Griffin shield, you're good to go, whatever you need to do. So again, I just created all these sites and I use them for everything in class. So if we just take a look, logistics wise, this is maybe looking toward next year. I have some information about online learning. This is for my online class. I have the school calendar. I have the second semester calendar that I'm constantly updating. I have all of the folders linked for all of their materials. I had the midterm and the final that was supposed to take place on the 19th of May. I have all of the Virginia Department of Education standards. I have my syllabus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But more importantly, if we take a look at what we're doing right now in Brave New World, I have the bookmark that they need for class, what the overall targets are for their learning, the reading schedule that is not that I have not updated based on our 2-week hiatus, the assignments that they're going to have, and then all the materials. Again, this has been 3 years in the making, so I have resources here, audio and digital text if they want to listen to the novel. But what I really use this for is the shared docs. And so I can create this link. This is additional resources, but my shared docs is something that we work with each week. So just to show you kind of what we're doing here, I'm going to go to the hyperlinks for the projects. Something I talked about in an earlier video was how they can actually link what they're supposed to be doing. And so each of my students who's done what he or she is supposed to have done has a link to his or her project. And so I have all of this information in one easy place. I don't have to worry about emails back and forth. And I just have everything I need right in front of the kids. Eventually, I can put kids into breakout rooms. And so the shared doc is something that's on this site. Each year I update it. So earlier in the year, this had last year's students' work on it. I've changed that. And so I can just give a kid an instant link to a website that if they need, where can I find the book? Go to the audio and digital text on this link. Here are some resources for film study. I use this for theory of knowledge a little bit differently. The theory of knowledge teachers have always offered me lessons and podcasts that they like. So for instance, Mr. Hanlon, Mr. Kane, Ms. Khan all said, hey, here are some of my favorite website or blogs, links, podcasts. Mr. Reinish and I then update this as we go. And so we have something we can show to the kids and just say like, hey, you're interested in the arts? Why don't you take a look at Art Curious? There's some really great pieces on kind of the myths of art or whatever we're talking about. Each of the areas of knowledge has something in here, and then each of the drop-down menus has resources and links as we work with it. So we have ideas for class. If Mr. Reinish has a good idea, he throws it up there. Mr. Hanlon has a good idea, I steal it from him. Sorry, Matt. And then we add it, and everything is pretty similar. I try to make everything look the same. So there's always the front page and then a sub-page, resources and links about bias, about economics, about education. So anytime I have a good idea, I try to throw it up here. That way it offers a potential lesson if I need to wing it one day, or if the kids want to figure out something for a TOK presentation. This actually enables them to have a resource that we've honed down for them. Pat Mohan and I also use a website for each of the semester ideas, and so we link it with our major units or our major assessments, the synthesis essay that's coming up. We update this. Obviously, I haven't updated it in the past 2 weeks because there's no longer an exam, but I show them examples of prose and prompts. These are all our handouts that we offer to kids, and so everything is kind of here, just as if you went to the IKEA website and you needed to download the directions for, how to make your Frost-a-stool or whatever you have. We all lose things, and so I assume kids are going to lose everything that we hand out to them, and so I make sure that everything we hand out to them is accessible on the website. I have one for CAS as well, where there's a lot more resources in terms of like video tutorials. I Fairfax County created a website for us, and so I try to make a video every couple weeks that shows kids how to do something. I've started a Coronacation journal that I'm only doing in writing now, but I'll add these videos as we go if kids kind of need some interaction. And then I also assume that most of our kids are not going to be there, or some of our kids are not going to be there for every one of our classes. And that's something you can give a link to the Blackboard Collaborate site that you eventually will create as you create your synchronous or lessons when students are with you. So I hope this works. I know this is a really rudimentary overview of what we're doing. I heavily rely on this for my projects because I can just send students a link. Parents don't have access to this because it's within the walled garden of FCPS. But if students allow their parents to have access to this, it has all the information for class and everything you need. Hope this helps, and good speed as you guys make your own.